Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. And today we are playing My Father's Lawn Lens. Found this game. It is a web browser, so I'll put the link in the description if you want to play it and there's no spoilers, or after you see me playing you decide you like it. I don't know what this game's about. When I was reading about it when I first found it, didn't give me anything. And this is the screen I was brought to when I came to the website, so I don't know what this game's about. But let's get into it. Okay. My family lived on the southern edge of a certain Midwestern industrial city in an old house, old enough that its basement still had a dirt floor. This. I was not yet old enough to openly question a parent's behavior, but certainly old enough to recognize its oddness when my father began digging. Digging the dirt floor. With the basement? Yeah. Okay, that's weird. I retain only a single clear memory of the time before the situation became alarming, and my father forsook sunlight forever. Clear memory. I am sitting at the bottom of the wooden stairs that led down to our basement. Ahead in the dimness stands my father, up to his waist in the hole. Why is he digging? Still in his dark blue uniform from the factory, skin and fabric blackened by the hot breath of machinery and further smudged now by the damp earth, I watched father with the satisfaction of a child who sees in our parent a well of limitless capability. Upstairs, my mother called out that dinner is done. My father takes one last shovel of earth, turns it over the side of the excavation, and, in a single incredible motion, crawls out of the hole simply by pressing the sole of his boot to the lip of the pit and moving his whole body upward, walking right past me, right up the stairs. He didn't say anything. He got out there. Wait, in one swift movement? Is that what it said? Single motion. Wow. I wouldn't be able to do that fast. Gosh. He must have long legs to be able to do that. I'm short, so I definitely can't do that. He was always tall, angular man, as the remaining pictures of him suggest, and to this day I can clearly conjure the marvelous image of my father's long legs. Hey, it's the title. Striding over me as he emerged from the hole he was to spend years digging beneath our house. Why is he digging? Does it ever say that why he's digging? Apart from him, there were three of us: my mother, my younger brother, and myself. Myself. A year or so went by before we left. My father was the last time I ventured down into the basement. So they left the father, and the father's probably still digging. Why is he digging? My brother was out with his friends, having reached the age when he finally realized the awkwardness that resulted from bringing visitors to our home, and mother had locked the door to her room and apparently gone to bed. It would be embarrassing if your dad's always downstairs digging in the basement. That kind of would be embarrassing. Father was, of course, laboring in the basement, and I was doing homework in the room while watching television. There came a knock at the door. The man on the porch was squat, but dressed neatly in a suit, coat, and hat. A pair of very small spectacles was perched on the end of his nose, looking minuscule in comparison to his large round face. "Hello, young lady," said the man in a labored voice. "Is your father home?" Uh-oh. "Who are you?" I asked. The man tipped his old-fashioned hat back on his head, smiling with rubbery lips. You would have no reason to know me, of course, he said, but I am your uncle. Why is our uncle here? Why's he here? Why? I left the man on the porch, the door locked, while I went to seek my mother's help. Thus I discovered she was unresponsive, as she often was in those days. This left me with only the option to summon my father from the basement. Sounds weird. Summon your father? Sounds like mad. No, no. Should just say I want to go get him, not summon. But okay. He did not respond when I opened the door and knelt down, though I thought I could hear faintly the sound of his digging. I looked back at the front door, where I could see through the pebbled glass the rounded figure of the man who claimed to be my uncle, and descended the wooden stairs into the basement. Why do I feel like something's... Why is he digging? I don't get why he's digging. Did this happen just suddenly someday? He's just like, I'm gonna dig this dirt floor. Did you buy the house? He's like, I'm gonna dig this dirt floor. I don't get it. Unless I'm forgetting the beginning and he just said, I still want to know why he's digging. The only light, as always, came from the single ball painted from the ceiling. My father had learned to operate in these conditions, but for me, the lack of illumination cast the labyrinth below into a mess of confusion and seemingly contradictory path of damp black earth and only slightly blacker shadow. I wouldn't be able to do it. I need light to be able to see. Father at first attempted to dig straight down, but as the years went on, he elaborated his original plans, angling outward from the center of the basement at a depth of perhaps 15 feet. From there he had begun to hollow out the entirety of the basement with one long looping path, threaded and bent around itself like some monstrous length of viscera, all the while continuing his march downward. I stood on the bottommost stair that, as I thought of it, still probably belonged to the house. What does that mean? Did the basement belong to the dad? What does that mean? Is there no floor anymore? My feet was a stack of unfamiliar butts. They were old, with blank but wrapped brown covers. Next to them was what appeared to be an antique child's rattle, caked with dirt, and several rocks chipped into various unnatural but vaguely instrumental shapes. I turned to see the void and called for my father. So is he digging up things? I bet the butts, the rots, and the rattle were all in the dirt. So did he know they were in the dirt, or is he just like, oh look, dirt, we're gonna dig it up to see what we can find? Probably was. No response came, but I grew more certain that I could hear, however distantly, the sound of father's shovel. I called for him again, this time giving also my purpose for interrupting his work. There's a man at the door, I said. He says he's my uncle. I stood and waited, and as I did, the sound of digging stopped. Ooh. My father emerged a minute or so later, unfolding himself from the narrow bends of his maze, his pale skin covered only by the rags of his clothing, and everywhere dusted gray with soil, including, I noted, the corners of his mouth, which seemed stained particularly thoroughly and much more darkly. Your uncle? Father rumbled, but not quite asking a question. He then added, my brother? I nodded. Show him in, he ordered. Gosh. We have an uncle we didn't know about? And for some reason, according to him, we didn't need to know? I'd like to know all my family, but okay. Feel like I should know all my family. The stranger, my uncle, who I remembered smelled of sour milk, seemed elated at his prospects. I led him down to the basement stairs. his agitated growing exponentially until he saw my father standing at his full height. He must have been at least 8 or 9 feet then, I think. What? 8 or 9 feet tall? Holy cow. That's tall. It's tall. My gosh. Uh, um, at the entrance of his renovations. I knew to take my leave, and as I ascended the stairs, I heard the visitor remark that my father seemed to have done very well for himself. All things considered. What do you mean? Like a good family? Done very well in family business? Because I bet he did. Or does he mean the whole? Like, I don't. What is happening? I don't understand what's happening. I never again saw the man who claimed to be my uncle, either that day or any other day, or any day after. Perhaps not coincidentally, this is also my last clear memory of my father, and the one that returned to me many years later when my brother suggested we return to our father's house. Ooh, not even your house, it's your father's house. Oh, you're gonna find the hole, and they're probably gonna find out why he was digging the hole, because I bet this whole entire time she's like, why are you digging the hole? My brother and mother had their own experience in that house, ones which I can relate only partially. My brother was young enough when my father began digging that it seemed to him an indifferent fact of life. Oh, so I think depending on the people, we get different things. Okay. It seemed obvious to me that something was wrong with our home. Its rawness was screamed, I thought, by the chilling terseness with which our mother moved through it. Returning home from work in the late afternoon, serving meals, and retiring to her bedroom, the rawness was screamed, of course, by my father, who, after losing his job at the factory, spent nearly all day in the basement, emerged at irregular intervals to eat and use the toilet. This is to say nothing of the physical changes he underwent as time went on. So, let me get this straight. He worked in a factory. Then he lost his job, so now he's digging in the basement. And his appearance changed, and he's going to the bathroom and eating at the same time. So, still don't know what happened. Still don't know why he's digging. Why is this a different... Okay. The rawness was screamed by my own action. The heavy worry I felt that at any moment the fragile equilibrium of our home would be upset and my brother's friends would witness the terrifying truth of our family situation. A situation I myself could not begin to articulate, but which I felt ashamedly that an outsider would. Of course, my brother, young as he was, saw nothing wrong with inviting his friends to our home, and even taking them down to the basement to see what he called, after our father's example, I believe, the renovations. Yeah, I still don't know why he's doing it. The friends never asked to return to the basement after my brother took them down there. I wouldn't either. I'd be like, no, I'm done. I'm good. I don't want to go back down. Saw it once, don't need to see it again. Some of them quietly just never returned to our house at all. Wow. Why wouldn't you want to oh, yeah. I'd probably return because I'd be like, he's my friend. Just don't want to go down in the basement. Much to my relief, though, my brother was often disappointed. Yeah, because do you know how disappointed it is for a kid when your friends don't want to come to your house? It's very disappointed. You're very disappointed. And that's when you start to realize either it's me or the house or it's them. And then it gets to the point where you realize, oh, it's my house. That's the reason why they don't want to come. I recall only one instance when my brother was perhaps 7 when one of his playmates made a scene. Ooh. I believe my brother's friends. My brother. Oh, sorry if you heard that. I hit the microphone. Brother's friends came from a religious family. Ooh, oh, that's not turn out well. Which may have been part of the problem, but that may also be something I recognize only due to my own biases. At any rate, though, his cosmology was different from my own. He at least shared some of my anxieties when he attempted to explain to my brother that our father's project in the basement was deeply unnatural. Well, how old is your brother? Is your brother like older or not? How old are you people? I emerged from the living room because down the hall I could hear crying. I knew that my brother and my friend had over. I knew that my brother had a friend over and so was prepared for the worst. The two boys stood outside the door to the basement, which still stood open. My brother looked up as I approached, at a loss as to how to comfort his weeping companion. Oh no, what happened? Oh no. Oh, we're going to hell, my visitor informed me after I managed to get him to look at me. That's where he's digging to down there, the child said, looking from me to my brother. He's digging to hell, and you're all going with him. I doubt he's digging to hell. I really doubt he's digging there. I don't think I don't know. I don't really think he has a purpose at this point in time. I don't think he has a purpose. I think he just is bored because he got fired and he doesn't want to find a job. My brother did not invite as many classmates over after that day, and I don't believe he ever invited any of them down to see the renovations ever again. Well, yeah, after that, I wouldn't either. Are we really going to hell? He asked me one night, lying beside me in bed after a nightmare sent him to my room. I told him I did not know. But is that where Dad is digging to? He asked. I told him there was no such place. Then why is Dad digging? Oh, finally. Are we going to get answers? Oh, hallelujah. Answers. Please give me answers. In the early days when I sat on the stairs and watched him work, my father had given me dozens of flippant reasons for his project. Seeking dinosaur bones. All of these excuses had lost currency by this point. Of course, and when asked what he was doing, as my brother told me, his religious visitor had inquired my father had other things to say. What's this one? I don't think seeking dinosaur bones. I really doubt that. This is not the real world, my father would say, or something along those lines. What we think is the real world is just a layer of dirt caked around the true color of the universe. And what is dirt? Inert matter, dead weight, the remains of those who came and went before us, content only the further pressed down upon creation with their waste. There was a time when human beings were giants walking upon a small earth, but now that the earth has grown fat and hateful with our soil, while we have grown small. Starting here, I am scraping away the sediment, our convoluted filth, and returning us to our original glory. Is that really what he's doing, or is that just an excuse because that's someone else? I feel like this is both. I assembled that manifesto from memory, from various interactions and variations Father offered us over the years. And certainly it was a sort of hearsay that had offended my brother's erstwhile friend. Still, they were not satisfactory answers to us then. Yeah, I'm not satisfied with that answer either. Still, and would not be satisfactory for my brother as he huddled fear and hell in my bed. But frankly, I had no other answer for him, and let the matter lapse into silence, which is perhaps why, all those years later, he urged me to come with him back to our father's home. Is he still there? Oh, now we're going to the mother. Okay. Our mother never made such a reason. Rather happy to be rid of him. I would too. He's digging, and I don't know why, and I barely see him. I'd probably be happy to get rid of him too. Even though I love him, but it's like, I barely see you, and you're digging a hole, and I don't know why. It's under my house. And I don't know why you're digging. Like, yeah, I don't. There were many. Yawning. There are many things about my mother I did not understand. She first found my father attractive, she admitted to me many years later, because of how unusual he was. Really? Okay. He had come to the Midwestern industrial town and secured a job at the same factory where my mother was working. Though a practical man, he read constantly and for uh, there's a fly. Forestly in subjects ranging from engineer repairing to philosophy, a habit instilled in him he had claimed by his own parents. This was all my father ever said to his family beyond us. Any further inquiry into the subject caused him to leave the room or bring up some other pressing issue. Oh, does he not have a good relationship with his family? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Mother once theorized that father had run away from home. Maybe. Maybe he ran away. Whatever his reasons for leaving his family behind, my father did not want to wait too long before beginning a new one. I was born only a few months after my parents were married. And how long were they married after? How long after they've been dating did they get married? And how long after they first met did they start dating? Oh, okay. Within a few years, father made enough money that my mother could stay home and watch over me, and not too long after my brother. Then one night, when my brother was perhaps only a year old, father came home, pulled a brand new shovel from the back of his pickup truck, and descended into the basement where he began to dig. So, wait. So at least we know that the brother was a year when he began to dig. So, seeing this, they have to be like, she has to be in her probably teens or something when they leave or something. I don't know. I'm just guessing. This is the first age we were ever doing. At first, he told mother that he was preparing to put down a cement floor, suggesting a prelude to a full or partial renovation of the house. I could see that. As a child, the movements of the adults were still largely mysterious to me, and I do not know the specific circumstances under which mother's realized his motive was untrue. Probably when he started digging deeper than he needed to, did she realize it was untrue. Because it's like, digging deeper than you need to. Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, you're not going to put down a cement thing? Oh, yeah, I realized that when you dug too deep. Nor do I know exactly what transpired when father told mother that they must go to the basement to discuss the matter closer to its source. For after the door shut behind them, my brother and I were left alone in the house. Why do you need to go down to the hole to talk about the hole? I don't get it. Okay. My brother cried most of the night, while I lay in my own bed, pillows pressed to my ears. The next day my mother reappeared, quietly prepared our meals, and then locked herself in her bedroom shortly before my father returned home and commenced digging once again. So when he was digging, he was still working. As far as I know, he was still working when he was digging. And then he lost his job and he did a full-time digging. But what did the father say to the mom? Because the mom is like, no, I'm not having any of this. I'm locking myself in the room, only coming out when I need to. Wonder what he said. My father, for his part, stopped sleeping in the bedroom with her, instead taking to the basement, a decision which coincided with the first signs of his terrible metamorphosis. What is happening? What is happening? The change was slow, but noticeable. Father began to grow paler, and by the time the factory closed and he could spend the whole day in the basement, he was as white as chalk. Well, he's not going outside, so that's understandable why he's white, why he's really pale. Like, it's understandable because he doesn't have sun. Perhaps it was the general evidence of where the change in skin tone and his subsequent emaciation that made him look taller, as if his height increased in proportion to the depth of his project in the basement. Well, he's like 8 to 9 feet tall, so I'm guessing he did grow. Meanwhile, my mother put my brother into preschool and sent me to a latchkey program. They just don't want us to know her age, while she worked to support us. In what seemed a deliberate contrast to my father, she grew darker and smaller. My father died uninterrupted in the basement for at least a decade, and once I started high school, he did not even leave the basement to join us for dinner. Oh, thank God. We have at least an age, depending on what year this is. Let's see, there's fat. Okay, so we'll say, like, there's a fly in here, and it's flying around. Again, there's a fly. I'm being haunted by flies. 14? 14, is that how old you are when you joined high school? Like about 14? Yeah. Then, wait. And started high school, he did not leave the basement 2 days. Then my mother left him. Yep. Father was significantly enveloped in his life's tasks that there was no need to replay the arguments from my childhood. Whatever desire he once had to keep us home with him had apparently fallen apart, lost in the depths of his pit. Well, yeah, you guys left. On her own, Mother seemed to physically decompose, to become less bowed. She spoke more, laughed more. She had friends and lovers. Ah, good for you, Mom. We did not see my father at all after we left. Well, at least she's moving on, because she's like, at least I'm gonna have. I love you, but you're spending all this time in the hole, and you said something to me that made me lock myself in the room. You're not even eating with us. We don't even know who you are anymore, practically. We're gonna leave. I'm gonna go get some friends, and I'm gonna date. And because these guys are actually gonna, like, give me what you're not giving me right now. On the day we left, he did not even come out of the basement. Well, yeah, he probably still thinks you're there, to be honest. But he didn't even know you left. So, though by that point it was questionable how easily he could get through the doorway, so tall he had grown. It was not until many years later that my brother suggested we pay a visit to my father's house. Okay, we did it. So I'm guessing now we're going to go to the father's house? It seemed my brother wanted to put his mind at ease by checking up on our father, who had been left alone now for slightly longer than we had lived with him. Oh, that's a long time. On the one hand, I appreciate my brother's sentiment, even if I felt it was misplaced. On the other hand, I knew I could not stop him. His feelings towards father had always been more lenient. The only question was, would I go along with him, or let him make the visit on his own? I'm going to go along with him. We decided upon a day and visit our childhood home, where we assumed our father still lived, and decided to meet there one afternoon the following week. But there must have somewhere been a miscommunication. Oh, it was late. I must have been late. The alternative is that, for his own purposes, my brother arrived early to see her father before I did, and I do not wish to contemplate why that would be. Oh, did he want to be alone? Oh, oops. Well, sorry. I wanted to be. The town was considerably less industrial than it had been, though. The taste of industry still laced our water and air. The old neighborhood, not the most affluent in the former times, even in the former times, had fallen into further disrepair. The houses up and down the block still weathered, and it seemed empty. Sidewalks buckled around the thick protrusions of sickly weeds, which reached out into the potholed street, protruding fingers of the overgrown lawns. So I'm going to say this. All the houses probably have a basement, and all those basements probably have dirt floors. All the people who live there probably had husbands, had mothers, fathers, kids, you'd say. All those fathers probably were digging the basement floor just like this one, and all the family left. That's probably why they're in disrepair. I actually don't know. That's a theory. Could be a theory. The only sign of habitation was a single car, my brother's car, parked outside our old home. So I'm gonna guess they're at least in like their 20s or something. At least probably the brother is. The doors were locked, the windows rolled up. A hand pressed to the hood told me it was not warm. But apart from that, I had no way of guessing how long the vehicle had been there untamed. Ahead, the house waited. It seemed not much different from the rest of the building, stripped down to gray bones by the elements. The windows were gone, without even silvers of the glass remaining, and the porch had bowed and now held a stagnant pool of rainwater. The front door stood open at an angle, its lowermost hinge having rusted and snapped in two. I'm scared that something's gonna pop up onto the screen. Oh god. Stepping carefully over the rotten porch, I slipped inside and found myself in the old living room. The floor was littered with trash and chunks of plaster dropped from the ceiling. The television was drawn through a lighter patch, and the shredded wallpaper marked its former location. The couch had collapsed and now seemed covered with mounds of some sort of green mold or fungus. Ahead was the central hallway of the house, and I could see that the door to the basement had been wholly removed. I rolled out my brother's name and then stood for a moment, looking down into the unremitting darkness. Of course the power was out. It was probably disconnected long ago. But a flashlight lay on the floor just outside the basement entrance. No. No. No, 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 no. If the flashlight's on, definitely no. But here's the thing. If flashlight's outside the basement, I wouldn't know. No. If it's on, I'd definitely be like, nah. Should have waited for me, brother. I'm out. I'd be, my brothers? Oh, great. Oh no. Please. Oh, please. Oh, please, Dad. The flashlight seems quite new. I flicked it and it pointed it down the basement, and it penetrated far enough only to reel the foot of the stairs. I told my brother's name again and waited. There was still no response. I'm using my water to block the screen because I'm scared that something's gonna pop up on the screen. Assuming the basement was anything like I had last seen it, my brother could have easily gotten hurt if he went down without his flashlight. Why would he leave the flashlight? I'm just wondering, why would he leave the flashlight? Why? Why? It's dark out. There's no electricity. Why would you leave the... Oh my god. He might have been laying down there just beyond the stairs unconscious. I had to make sure. So... Is the dead still alive? Oh, I had to make sure. Flashlight ready, I went into the basement. Oh no! Why? Why are you doing this to me? Oh. The stairs creaked beneath my feet. We're just gonna check the screen. No? Okay. I reached the bottom, and when my flashlight returned, only a slope headed deeper beneath the house. I knew my father had quite a bit of work in the decades since we left. I went down. I called for my brother. I walked to the left. I walked to the right. I called for my brother. Why is chambers of lighted? Why is that lighted up? What is that? Oh, okay. Only my own breathing echoed back through the chambers of barren earth. I walked further into the darkness. Oh, okay. This one. Around me there was nothing but darkness. Something's gonna pop up. I walked further onward. I called to my brother again and received no answer. The path branched left and right. We'll call him one more time. Oh! There's sounds! Oh my god! Oh my god. That scared me. In the distance, the sound of shoveling did not break its rhythm, as if the digger did not know or care I was there. I followed the sound of the digging. I watched further into the darkness. Where was my brother? I followed the sound of the digging. I went left. Where was my brother? In the distance, the sound of shoveling did not break its rhythm, as if the digger did not know or care I was there. I followed the sound of the digging. I walked further into the darkness. Is this just... Oh, follow the sound of the digging. I took a deep breath. I followed the sound of the digging. I followed the closest turn in the path. Yeah, you did. I took a deep breath. Around me there was nothing but darkness. I followed the sound of the digging. I feel like it just wants me to follow the sound of the digging, and it's still freaking father digging. Was I going in circles? How would I ever be able to tell? Follow the sound of the digging. I took a downward slope path to it. I told my brother, oh no. In the distance, the sound of shoveling did not break its rhythm. Follow the sound. Am I just in this one? Okay. How long? I'm just going in circles. Yeah, that was right. I like how they did that. You're going in circles. How long I have been down here? I turn right. I follow the sound and did it. How long have I been down here? If I go back to the... Alright, this one. Okay, this is going to take me back to the... What is that? What is that? What's that? What's the sound? Oh my god! What is it? Oh my god. What's happening? Someone's happening! Oh my god. Oh my god. What's happening? Why is the screen black? I did not find my brother. Oh. I did not know what to tell our mother. I do not know where to go from here. What to do. It is true I gave up my search, but once I saw what lived there, had been living there for all these years, or more precisely what had grown there, I ran from the basement. There is a chance, I think, that he may still be alive. But my guilt, I'm hot. I'm sweating. Oh my God. But my guilt is heavy, do not doubt that. But it is outweighed by the fear I experienced when I came face to face with the terrible result of my father's attempted renovations of a rotted world. Oh, like, don't show me. I once told my brother there was no such thing as hell. Oh no. I still believe that it's digging! I still believe that to be true, but where my little brother is now... What is that? I wonder if he's... Oh my God, it's a foot. I wonder if he's grown as tall as our father. Okay. I can't click it. Oh gosh. Oh, is that it? Oh my God. Okay, guys. That's it. I'm sweating. I'm hot. And at least nothing scary really happened. But that's sad that the brother, we don't know what happened to the brother. I'm sad because I really got to, I feel like I grew up with the brother. Even though I didn't really know him. I still don't know why he was digging, but I really hope the brother's still alive. And I kind of hope that he's not as tall as him. But, like, okay. Well, that's it. If you want more like this, comment, and subscribe. See you later. Bye.